And welcome back to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. A little bit of a technical issue there for a second. Joel, you were a sort of a traditional broadcaster. See, this is in one way in which you and I are different is I actually have no background in traditional broadcast other than having been interviewed once or twice on evening news and on some shows. And I actually never really even thought about going into broadcasting. It wasn't even in my radar. I don't know why. It just never any encouragement or just not the opportunity until I took over Talking Alternative. And of course, I'm taking over a network. I may as well have my own show. But you were actually in broadcast. And so I'm curious as to what sort of got you to say, I mean, I understand podcasting was kind of becoming, but what got you to say, you know what, I really want to dive into this online version from going from broadcast and really give it a big shot?
Sure. I saw the possibilities in podcasting, and I saw that it was a very, very real resource. Mm-hmm. A resource for people to consume content.
Right.
And I don't know how it is where you live, but in Texas, I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Uh-huh. You know, every time I pass an Apple store or a smartphone store, it is bustling with people, and people are walking out with iPhones and Galaxies and Droids and smartphones, and every single one of those people now today have access to your content. If you're doing live streaming radio like you're doing, or if you're doing a podcast like we do 3 times a week, and if you have a show and it's doing well, gosh, just think about the possibilities when that person is at home alone, sitting on the couch, scrolling through their new smart device, and they see that podcast app, which is natively installed on all iPhones now, and they see that podcast app, and they can click it, and if you're there and you're strong with your show, that person can immediately become a listener, and then later a customer.
Yeah. And to me, one of the most exciting things about it is, you know, being able to reach people around the globe. Like, you know, I just took a quick look at the back end, and we have people listening from France, from Mexico, from China, from Korea, from Japan, and, you know, across the United States. And to me, it just gives me such a kick to know that, you know, we're touching people's lives around the globe that may have an impact, you know, 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 years down the road that we can't even imagine.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing when you think about, and you never know who's listening. That to me is a cool concept.
Yeah, absolutely. So what were the challenges for you going online after having been a broadcast veteran?
Sure. Well, you know, like many entrepreneurs these days, I'm continuously challenged by the changing technology. But I was committed to what I wanted to do behind the microphone. Right. And also in the impact that I wanted to have on people that would not only listen to the show, but also would work with us one-on-one in group settings. Right. So I pushed forward, and I surrounded myself with as many people as I could get that were smarter than me, that knew more stuff than I knew, right. that could help me. Right. In this, and the power of linking arms and relationships is where it's all about. Wonderful. I talk about relationships a lot on our show, and it's surrounding yourself with a team that can really help you. Michael Jordan said that talent wins games, but teamwork wins championships. And that is exactly right. Yeah. You can be the star of the game, but that will quickly fade. Right. But if you surround yourself like Michael Jordan did, with guys like Scottie Pippen and all the other folks that helped the Bulls dominate that era
for many years.
That won championship after championship, up to 6 NBA rings. that ended up in. Phil Jackson, 12 rings.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing, absolutely, and really, it's relationships are so important today. I'm so glad you brought that up. Just like the way we got connected through my dear friend Teresa de Grosbois, who's been on my show a couple of times. She's been amazing at introducing me to just some powerful, influential people, and I've gotten many guests on my show through her and through her Evolutionary Business Council network. So a big hats off to Teresa. I hope she's listening sometime, maybe to the recording. So, of course, being a fellow online talk show person, I have to find out, what's your secret sauce that you were able to get named, best overall podcast and most inspirational podcast by Podcasters Paradise? What do you think? Caused you to stand out in their minds that you stood above other people doing similar things?
Sure. I think it goes to promotion and networking.
Okay.
Without a doubt. There are many shows out there, but you've got to do something a little bit different,
right,
to put yourself in a category of one, which is what we did.
Right.
And I think the marketing and the promotional aspect is what did it for us.
Okay.
And you can have the best show in the world, but if you don't promote yourself properly, then nobody's going to know about it. Nobody will listen.
Right. So give us some examples. What's one thing that you did to promote your show that you found made a huge difference?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, one of the things that we do is we continue to promote our show and to continue to cycle it through the social media channels.
Okay.
And here's what I mean by that. If you think about a mall, think about a busy mall in your local town. Well, social media is like that mall with a revolving door on it.
Right.
And what happens, Sam, is, and this isn't new information, this, is people are continuously coming into the mall.
Right.
Just like on Twitter, just like on
Right.
Facebook, LinkedIn, and the other ones.
Right.
People are continuing to file their way in.
Right.
And if you repurpose your show and continue to circulate it, well, you have a much better chance
Right.
of touching more people,
Right.
impacting more lives. And that's one of the things that we do religiously, is continue to circulate in the social channels, our shows. And later, because we pay attention to stuff, we can figure out which shows are getting the most clicks.
Gotcha.
And downloads and things of that nature. And that tells me, not because I'm a smart person, but just because I can kind of figure it out, that, okay, well, I probably want to promote more heavily the popular ones and maybe back off a little bit on the lighter trafficked ones.
Right. Okay. So kind of like going with your strengths and seeing, okay, this is what people like, so let's push this one a little bit more.
Absolutely.
Cool. Out of curiosity, what are some of the ways in which you repurpose your podcast?
Sure. There's no magic science to it.
Right.
We just continue to just get it out there.
Okay.
And also, I try to reference it as much as I can.
Okay. So it's kind of like once it's posted, it's like
a newsletter.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
No, I was just going to say, so once you post the podcast, you linking to it, saying, hey, if you missed my show, check it out here, and you do that in different platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. I just sent out a newsletter today to my list, and I referenced not only a podcast that I had done with a particular guest, but also an affiliate link that tied in with that particular guest. So I just made, because it made sense.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just a standalone, oh, by the way, click this.
Right.
But it added value to the information that I was sending out.
Gotcha. Okay, great. The hour's flying by, so I really want to get to your book, Finding Your Voice. What made you decide to kind of make the decision of man, you know what? I got to get something down on paper. Time for me to start writing a book.
Well, first of all, I think everyone has a book in them.
Absolutely.
However, very few people will take action on it and put together a book.
Right.
And if you're in business, brick and mortar, online business, or somewhere in between, you need to have a book, because what I've figured out is that is one of the best calling cards ever. Is to be able to put a physical book, not any book, but a physical book in somebody's hand, and then sign it for them.
Right.
I think that is one of the most powerful things that you can do.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
Everyone needs a book, and I try to remember to take those with me wherever I'm going, to a live event or to a networking deal, because most people don't have a book.
Right.
But if you're able to put one in someone's palm and have your business card in there, that immediately sets you apart from everyone else. Okay, that's the business advantage. But frankly, I just thought it was needed for me to tell my own personal struggle story, which involves near-death experiences, at-risk kids, that's me, and a lot of abuse in the early years up to when I was 13, 14. But I thought that story needed to be told, because that can be a beacon for other folks.
All right.
I thought that was important. I thought, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, did you get much reaction from people? Did people who could really relate to that sort of at-risk side of you kind of reach out and say, oh, this story really landed with me?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it ended up becoming number one on Amazon in all three categories.
Wow.
Same day, same hour. So, yeah, I resonated with someone, I'm thinking.
Yeah. Absolutely. What, just about the process of creating the book, what did you find really surprised you about it that you didn't realize going into the idea of writing it?
Boy, it does take a little bit of work. And one of the things that I did repeatedly was just to read it over and to make adjustments and changes and things of that nature. And frankly, it got a little tiring. But I was clear on what I wanted to do.
Okay.
And I didn't waver on that. And I think that's the game changer right there.
Gotcha.
Be clear on what you want to do. Take failure out of the equation, not an option.
Right.
And, continue to move forward.
Right. No plan B, right?
Right. Something like that.
Wonderful. And so the book's been out a while now. It's been out how long? 2 years?
3 years.
3 years. So what has surprised you since the book has come out? What's sort of surprised you since it came out?
That's a good question. I would say that what is surprising me currently is that I'm feeling led back to it. And I'm feeling led to really help people in a different way than I've been doing recently.
Okay.
To really help them get clarity, confidence, and direction on their voice, their inner voice.
Right.
So that they can make a difference for the people that they're sent here to serve.
Okay, great.
And that's pretty strong.
Yeah.
With me right now, Sam.
Great. That's wonderful. So we got to go to our, believe it or not, last break of the hour. But when we come back, I would love to briefly just kind of hear about your near-death experience, because I've had many people on my show, various things of their near-death experiences. I'm curious to hear about yours. And then let's let people know, how do they find your podcast and your book and all that other good stuff.
Cool.
Okay, Joel?
Yes.
Awesome. So everybody, please stay tuned. You're listening to the Conscious Consultant Hour, Awakening Humanity. My guest this hour has been Joel Boggess, and we will be right back.